They want to be cool. They are impressionable. And they have the cash. They are corporate America's $150 billion dream.
Teenagers have a lot of disposable income. They want to go spend their money. And, we're more than happy to make product that they want to go spend it on.
MTV, Madison Avenue, and the dream makers of Hollywood have targeted our teenagers.
They look at the teen market as part of this massive empire that they're colonizing. Teens are like Africa.
They are the most studied generation in history.
If you don't understand and recognize what they're thinking, what they're feeling, you're going to lose. You're absolutely going to lose.
But what does this relentless focus on the teenager do to the culture?
They're going to do whatever they think works the fastest and with the most people, which means that they will drag standards down.
And to the teenagers themselves.
I have to look good for people if I need to look good.
Tonight, author and media critic Douglas Rushkoff takes a journey through the complex world of buying and selling cool.
What you just watched is the introduction to a PBS Frontline special called The Merchants of Cool. I'll provide a link to the full documentary in the description below, but I highly recommend you guys check it out when you have time. I came across this film years ago while trying to gain a better understanding of the rap game and marketing and whatnot, but I believe it can serve as a useful observation from a MGTOW perspective. This program aired in February of 2001, roughly 14 years ago, and it serves as a very powerful illustration for what we know to be subculture or underground cultures, before and after they are consumed by mainstream media. Now, this is a process that virtually every trend and lifestyle has gone through, in which something that is at one point in time considered to be socially unacceptable or unpopular becomes trendy on a small scale. And as it continues to flourish, it's only a matter of time before it's noticed and targeted by corporate interests. And once a subculture has gained the attention of major corporations, we'll begin to see a lot of media attention being directed towards these subcultures.
Statistics show that black women are the least married group in the United States.
German researchers are wondering why young people in their country are refusing to get married. They're having a similar problem in their country that we're having here in the United States, with millennials refusing to get married.
According to the latest available census data, the percentage of U.S. adults who have never been married has hit a new all-time high.
Why are more and more young men giving up on women and checking out of society? They're calling it the sexodus.
The Japanese male from the baby boomers to the bubble period were very proactive about romance and sex, she says. But their children's generation is creating a new kind of man, not so thirsty for love and sex.
Men simply are giving up hope on marriage because they're feeling beaten down?
No, I don't think they're giving up on hope on marriage. I think what they're doing is they're looking at it, the cost reward. Men look at things in terms of cost analysis. And the penalties for marriage are so high and the rewards now are so low. Women hold all the cards now in reproduction and all kinds of things, and men don't.
Women hold all the cards now in reproduction and all kinds of things, and men don't.
Men have found a platform where they can get together. And that, I think, is the beginning of the massive change. Men who've stood up and said, we've had enough. We're men going our own way. MGTOW, 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 MGTOW. We're men going our own way. MGTOW, MGTOW.
So many men now who are just saying, you know what, it's just not worth it to me. Not worth it to me. Not worth it to me.
This increase in public awareness and media attention is usually an indication that these kind of underground communities are subject to be embraced and heavily marketed into popular culture, in some cases used as a prop to introduce a new social norm, or, if possible, the said subculture can be utilized to reinforce the demand for an already established social construct. But anyway, getting back to this documentary, The Merchants of Cool. Looking back on this film today, where I once saw hip-hop, where I once saw rap music and rage rock, death metal, skateboard culture, and gamer culture, I now see MGTOW in different variations approaching mainstream status. All of these genres and lifestyles started from a smaller percentage of people who went in the exact opposite direction of the rest of society, and today so does MGTOW.
A correspondent is a person who has been trained by us to be able to find a certain kind of kid, a kid that we call a trendsetter or an early adopter. This is a kid who's very forward in their thinking, who looks outside their own backyard for inspiration, who is a leader within their own group. These kids are really difficult to find. So what this correspondent does is they go out and they find and identify these trend-setting kids. They interview them. They get them interested in what we do. They send all that stuff in. We look at it. We compile it. We look for trends or themes that are happening through all the information, and that's the stuff that we put on our website.
For a subscription fee of $20,000 each, companies are granted access to the Look website, a Rosetta Stone of teen culture. If companies can get in on a trend or subculture while it is still underground, they can be the first ones to bring it to market.
And that's when the mass consumer picks up on it and runs with it and then eventually kills it.
And that's the paradox of cool hunting. It kills what it finds. As soon as marketers discover cool, it stops being cool.
So the faster you pick up on these trends and blow them out and show them to everybody and reveal them to corporate America, the more you force the kind of person who starts them and spreads them to move on and find the next. So you simply, there's no kind of solution to this. You can't ever solve the puzzle permanently. By discovering cool, you force cool to move on to the next thing.
Society would describe MGTOW as the outcasts, the lames, the losers, the misogynistic pieces of shit that can't get laid. But regardless of how society chooses to view men going their own way, one thing is for sure. Our numbers are growing, and they're growing fast. Increasingly faster with each major event that demonstrates a bias against men. Marriage rates are declining across the world at alarming rates. People have been asking where have all the good men gone for decades now. No-fault divorce laws and misandric family court policies, radical feminism off the leash, and false rape culture propaganda have created an extremely hostile environment for men to even consider dating, let alone marrying a bitch. So as more men go their own way, especially if this becomes popular amongst men who haven't fell victim to the courts, MGTOW could possibly be the next generation as seen here in this documentary. We could very well become the new successful singles, the new demographic with untapped disposable income as a result of minimalism and no binding obligations to any girlfriends, wives, or unnecessary debt. Men of the manosphere, the sexodus, and so on are showing the potential to become the next target audience under the microscope of corporate interests.
A lot of people seem to sense anger coming off juggalos because there's a lot of middle finger stuff. I mean, who's the middle finger to?
The middle finger is to everybody who doesn't understand what we're doing. It's to the world.
To the mainstream.
It's people who don't understand. To people like these people who drive by honking their horns, drive by laughing at us. We don't care, and that's who the middle fingers and the fuck yous are for.
I like the way you make me laugh.
In the early 90s, Sprite was an also-ran brand in the competitive soft drink category. Their focus groups with teenagers were designed to find out what was wrong.
What we found by talking to teens is that they had seen so much advertising that they were on overload and became very cynical about that traditional approach to advertising.
Hi, I'm Grant Hill, professional basketball player for the Detroit Pistons.
Then they launched this ad campaign aimed at teens, which pokes fun at marketing itself.
Because it's the only drink with that cool, crisp, refreshing taste that satisfies even my manliest thirst.
There was really no one in the market at the time that was saying, discount it all, don't believe it, it's all BS, and we know that you know that, and you're smarter than everyone else. So it put them in a position to feel like we understood them. So that they were feeding back to us, Sprite understands me, and Sprite is one, it's really one of us.
It worked for a while, but soon Sprite's own focus groups revealed that kids were getting wise to this anti-marketing marketing campaign.
They had Grant Hill telling you not to listen to some celebrity telling you to drink a beverage. Right. Well, that's what you're doing. You're listening to Grant Hill telling you to drink Sprite.
Right. I don't know how much they probably paid all those stars to come on and say, don't listen to what a star says.
So Sprite crossed an entirely new threshold, into the innermost sanctum of teen culture, where they cloaked themselves in genuine cool.
Hip-hop, for us, became the sort of vehicle or the lens for us to get to teens and talk to them in a credible way. And the way we did that was to develop relationships with artists.
It worked. Thanks to the teens who buy it, Sprite is now the fastest-growing soft drink in the world. Sprite invited us to a kickoff party for their new website, Sprite.com. Scores of kids were paid to show up and revel in the sounds and styles of urban authenticity. While we were there, some of the biggest acts in rap music appeared on stage under the company logo. Here it was, the ultimate marriage of a corporation and a culture. Sprite and hip-hop had become one and the same, each carrying the other to its audience.
Sprite has really become an icon. It's not just associated with hip-hop. It's really a part of it. As much as baggy jeans and sneakers, Sprite has become an icon in hip-hop culture.
Let's do this! 1, 2, 12, keep my eyes cool. 3 or 4 zips, have me leaning like a fool. Purple Sprite on top of ice, I'm rocking ice on dirty Sprite. I feel real nice to be precise, my jury on high as a kite. I'm space cadet, I drink a chick, I spit a chick. I must respect for pimps, you bitch. Oh my bitch say, oh I'm on purpose, shit, my purpose stuff.
Now, I'm sure that many will agree with me in saying that we've all watched rap music, hip-hop, gamer culture, and many other subcultures slowly deteriorate due to mainstream commercialization. In each case, it was a very exciting and liberating time seeing these underdog lifestyles that started from the bottom rise to the top. However, it is during this time of celebration that I humbly offer this suggestion to my fellow members of the Manosphere. It is very important that we all maintain a record of the early MGTOW content that's available, the classics so to speak. We need to always have them on file and share them frequently to reflect on the true nature and intent of men going their own way. Because as we all know, many will come and go in and out of the Manosphere, some to contribute to what's already established, and others to put their own spin on things in attempts to further their own agendas at the expense of MGTOW. And as much as I like to think that MGTOW will continue to be censored by gynocentric influence or simply overlooked by the mainstream media to avoid waking up men across the globe, we never can tell what the future may hold, especially in a modern era where shock value is in constant demand. And no matter how rebellious a subculture may be, if the demand is big enough and the companies are financially deprived enough, they'll eventually find a way to exploit that subculture with little to no concern about the future consequences it may bring.
These fans feel loyalty to this band and this music because they experience it as their own. It hasn't been processed by corporations, digested into popular culture, and sold back to them at the mall.
Everybody that likes our music feels a super connection. That's why all those juggalos here, they feel so connected to it because it's exclusively theirs. See, when something's on the radio, it's for everybody. You know what I mean? It's everybody's song. Oh, this is my song. That ain't your song. It's on the radio. It's everybody's song. But to listen to ICP, you feel like you're the only one that knows about it.
Man, fuck that bitch!
These are the extremes to which teens are willing to go to ensure the authenticity of their own scene. It's the front line of teen cultural resistance, become so crude, so intolerable, and break so many rules that you become indigestible. Rage rock is a double dog dare to the mainstream marketing machine. Just try to market this. And the thing is, that's exactly what they've done. Consider the engineered rise of Limp Bizkit. Remember them? It turns out that the nastiest expressions of youth culture are manna to an industry ravenous for anything authentic to sell. Bizkit is a rage rock band that leaves critics cold, but ignites fans with incendiary lyrics. America first got to know them at Woodstock '99, rage rock's coming out party as covered by MTV.
It's just one of those days!
The heat burned on and conditions grew more intolerable. And for some angry concertgoers, songs like Limp Bizkit's Break Stuff became a mantra.
Time to reach deep down inside.
take all that negative energy and let that out of your system. Like a chainsaw, I skin your ass raw. And if my day keeps going this way, I just might break your face tonight. Give me some break.
How does a band like them become superstars? Follow this well-tested recipe. Always on the lookout for the rawest of raw material, Jimmy Iovine, the enormously successful head of Interscope Records, finds a controversial band and packages them for the mainstream, all the while claiming he's just responding to demand.
There's no way to stop a movement in popular culture. There's just no way to stop it. It's going to happen with or without you. There's absolutely no way to stop that train.
Having declared them worthy of a slot on TRL, MTV now also had a stake in making Limp Bizkit stars. The network put the band on their spring break special.
When Spring Break aired, you could see a sales change the following week. And that's the kind of reaction that a killer performance at Spring Break gives.
Get your ass up!
1 part authentic rage, 2 parts marketing, sprinkle with cash, and place in a preheated oven called Woodstock 99. The night after Bizkit's performance, the festival erupted in flames. The band's goading of the crowd was blamed, perhaps unfairly, for the mayhem which ensued. By the time the smoke had cleared, 4 young women reported being raped. But the band had made the big time. Bizkit's lead singer became a senior vice president at Interscope Records, and the band's relationship with MTV had become so cozy that they put a picture of executive Dave Cerulnik in their album liner notes and made casual drop-ins at their old stomping grounds, TRL. The cool hunt ends here, with Teen Rebellion itself becoming just another product.
Often, there's a kind of official and systematic rebelliousness that's reflected in media products pitched at kids. It's part of the official rock video worldview. It's part of the official advertising worldview that your parents are creeps, teachers are nerds and idiots, authority figures are laughable. Nobody can really understand kids except the corporate sponsor. That huge authority has, interestingly enough, emerged as the sort of tacit superhero of consumer culture. That's the coolest entity of all.
So is there anywhere the commercial machine won't go? Is it leaving any room for kids to create a culture of their own? Do they even have anything that's theirs alone? All eyes are on our kids. They know they're being watched. But what or whom can they look to themselves? And what if they turn and fight? The battle itself is sponsored, packaged, and sold right back to them. Oh, and by the way, those rebels in clown makeup from Detroit?
Oh my goody, look a chicken.
They've signed with a major label, produced some slick music videos, even got themselves on World Championship Wrestling. And lo and behold, their latest album hit number 20 on the charts. Welcome to the machine.
So as we see in this documentary, as a small example, any lifestyle or ideology can be socially discouraged in the beginning. But as they gain momentum, they all inevitably face the risk of being subverted and distorted by acceptance into the mainstream media machine. So to MGTOW, the Sexodus, the Wall of Silence, the Manosphere, the spotlight is on us. We know where we've been. We know where we are. Where do we go from here? I guess that's just the thrill of going our own way and embracing the journey. But wherever we go, as a collective as well as individuals, we must always remain in the driver's seats. This is Marcus A. Brown. Thank you all for listening, and I'll holler at y'all in the comment section. Peace.